Welcome to my YouTube channel American Story Hub. I'm a Navy SEAL. Commander kicked a female soldier during drill. 5 seconds later, she crushed him. The air over Falcon Ridge training base shimmered like molten glass, the sun hanging viciously overhead. Noon had no mercy here. The heat carved through uniforms, soaked into skin, and pressed down on the rows of soldiers standing in perfect formation across the parade ground. Falcon Ridge was known for two things: its brutal training routines and its even more brutal leadership. Most of that reputation came from one man, Commander Riker Hale, decorated, feared, temperamental, a man who believed he could break anyone. He marched down the line of soldiers with heavy, aggressive steps, his boots hammering against the asphalt. Every thud echoed off the barracks, vibrating in the tense silence. His shadow fell over each soldier like a storm cloud, and each soldier held their breath until it passed. No one spoke, no one shifted, no one dared draw attention. Everyone knew Commander Hale had returned from a special deployment. Whispers said it involved a black zone mission gone wrong, team conflict, and a fallout he refused to discuss. But the soldiers of Falcon Ridge had learned one thing over the years. A commander with a wounded ego was the most dangerous kind. Hale stopped in front of a young corporal. "Your stance is weak," he snapped. The corporal swallowed. Hale slapped his rifle with 2 fingers. "Fix it." The corporal obeyed instantly, trembling. Hale grunted, dissatisfied, then moved on. When he reached Sergeant Clare Maddox, he paused. She stood still, posture perfect, gaze forward, presence calm as water. She didn't twitch, didn't blink, didn't look intimidated in the slightest. That irritated Hale immediately. Not because there was anything wrong with her stance, there wasn't. Claire was flawless. The irritation came from something else, something he felt deep in his gut. She wasn't afraid of him. And he hated that. "You," Hale growled, stepping closer. "Sergeant, eyes on me." Claire remained still. Her jaw didn't clench. Her breath didn't quicken. Her shoulders didn't shift. Her silence was not rebellion. Yet something about it cut straight through Hale's pride. "I said eyes on me," he repeated, louder this time. "Nothing." He moved closer until his nose was inches from her face. "You think you're too good for discipline," he hissed. Still nothing. Hale's temper snapped. Without warning, he fired a sharp kick into Claire's thigh, a blow meant to test pain tolerance, to jolt her out of her composure. She absorbed it without flinching. That only enraged him more. He shoved her shoulder hard enough that a lesser soldier would have stumbled. Claire didn't move. Commander Hale's face flushed with humiliation. Who did this woman think she was? What soldier dared defy him publicly? He stepped back, puffing out his chest. "I'm a Navy SEAL," he roared so loudly the soldiers felt the sound in their bones. "When I give an order, you move." He swung his hand again, open, aggressive, ready to strike. But he never made contact. In 5 seconds, everything changed. Claire's hand shot up, catching his wrist midair with precision so sharp it stunned everyone. Her movements were fluid, silent, almost gentle, but the control behind them was undeniable. Before Commander Hale could even process what happened, she pivoted, locking his arm, shifting her weight, and sending him flipping onto the ground in a motion so fast the air seemed to snap. The soldiers gasped. Commander Hale hit the asphalt with a heavy, humiliating thud. He tried to get up, pride burning hotter than pain, but Claire pinned him with a simple joint lock, a technique so clean it looked like it came straight out of a SEAL hand-to-hand combat class. "Release me," he snarled, humiliated. Claire didn't speak. She didn't need to. Everyone saw it. Her stance, her control, her technique. Commander Hale recognized it too, and suddenly, everything clicked in his mind. He knew that maneuver. He knew that efficiency. He knew that precision. It wasn't the technique of a regular soldier. It wasn't even from standard special forces. It was from the elite. Claire released him and returned to her stance without a hint of arrogance or aggression. She didn't even dust off her uniform. Commander Hale rose slowly, staring at her with new eyes filled not with rage, but with the first sting of fear. He straightened his vest, trying to recover. "What?" he began, but his voice cracked. "Where did you learn that?" Claire finally spoke, her voice calm and controlled. "Classified," she said. The ranks shivered. Hale froze. He had heard rumors. Stories whispered across bases. Reports of a female operator who moved like a shadow and struck like lightning. A woman nicknamed Iron Shade by Tier -1 teams. He never believed them. Not until now. Your file? Hale stammered. You never read it, Claire answered simply. You assumed. Shame flushed his face. Around them, not a single soldier dared even breathe. Claire stepped back into formation, as if nothing had happened. Hale found himself unable to speak. Not because he lacked words, but because his entire authority had just been shattered in front of the entire base. A commander who led by fear had been defeated by calm discipline. A man who boasted about being a Navy SEAL had just been dismantled by someone who truly was one. For the first time in his career, Riker Hale felt respect, real respect, forced into him like a lesson carved into bone. He turned toward the platoon. Drill dismissed, he muttered, voice hollow. The soldiers didn't cheer. They didn't smirk. They didn't whisper. They watched Claire walk away in silence, the kind of silence reserved for legends. But the story didn't end at the parade ground. That afternoon, Hale stormed into Colonel Hensley's office, slamming the door behind him. That woman, he barked, that sergeant, she attacked me. Hensley glanced up from the folder on his desk. Oh, Claire, he said casually, she didn't attack you, Commander. She defended herself. She humiliated me. Hensley shrugged. You hit her first. What did you expect? Hale's face reddened. And for your information, the colonel continued, you've been barking orders at one of the most decorated operators in the Pacific Division. Hale blinked. Operator. Hensley closed the folder with a soft click. Not just any operator. Tier -1. SEAL Team Omega. 4 covert missions. 0 casualties. 3 commendations for restraint, and recently reassigned here under protective transfer. Hale's stomach twisted. The heat in his chest disappeared, replaced by a cold, spiraling pit of regret. You're telling me, he whispered, that she outranks me. In experience, Hensley nodded. By a mile. Hale swallowed hard. She requested low profile, the colonel continued. No special treatment, no rank displays. She wanted to train quietly. Hale felt his throat tighten. And you, Commander, Hensley said sharply, nearly derailed that by assaulting her. Hale closed his eyes. What do you recommend? He asked quietly. Hensley leaned back. Start by apologizing. The next morning, the entire base felt different. Word had spread. Not through gossip, but through reverence. Clare Maddox became the soldier everyone looked at with new respect. Not because of what she'd done, but because of how she carried herself afterward. Calm, respectful, unchanged. She didn't brag. She didn't retell the story. She didn't even acknowledge the rumors. She simply trained harder. That made the base respect her even more. Commander Hale found her later, working alone on the outdoor combat course. She moved like a ghost. Quiet, efficient, deadly. She completed maneuvers faster than most soldiers could blink. Hale approached cautiously. Sergeant Maddox, he said, voice lower than usual. She stopped mid-movement. I owe you an apology, he said. I acted out of anger. Out of pride. Claire studied him for a moment. Anger is human, she said. Pride is dangerous. He nodded slowly. You're right. She stepped aside, allowing him space. She wasn't vengeful. She didn't hold resentment. She simply stood with the same quiet strength she always had. Sergeant, Hale said, where did you learn to move like that? Years of training, she replied simply. And the discipline? He asked. That, she said, I taught myself. Her words pierced deeper than any reprimand. Hale exhaled. Would you be willing, he asked carefully, to train me? Claire didn't smile, but her eyes softened. Respectfully, Commander, she said, I prefer to train soldiers who want to improve, not prove. Hale understood the difference, and he accepted it. Then I will work to earn that, he said. She nodded. Good. Over the next weeks, everything at Falcon Ridge changed. Training became stricter, but fairer. Respect grew, both for Claire and for Hale. She became an unofficial mentor to dozens of soldiers, guiding them in silence, correcting their form with a soft touch, encouraging discipline through example rather than force. And Hale, he changed in ways that shocked the entire base. He no longer shouted at soldiers. He no longer used intimidation. He no longer believed fear was the strongest motivator. He started believing in something else. Strength with humility. Discipline with purpose. Respect without ego. Because 5 seconds on the asphalt had taught him a lesson he never forgot. Clare Maddox didn't break him. She rebuilt him. He didn't lose authority that day, he found it. Months later, Falcon Ridge became known for producing the most disciplined, united platoons in the region. And soldiers quietly credited one woman for the transformation. The sergeant who never bragged, never demanded respect, never needed to prove anything. Because she carried truth in the way she moved, and strength in the silence she kept. Commander Hale watched her from across the training ground one morning and whispered to himself. She didn't crush me that day. She saved me. Some leaders rise by fear. Others rise by force. But the strongest leaders, the ones who change entire bases, rise by example. And sometimes, all it takes is 5 seconds.